Hello YouTube! Greetings from the LazyEyebrowReviewer. It's a review of an older figure, and by older I mean nearly 4 years older. Wow, how time flies. This is the review for Generation Springer, a Voyager triple changer that came out around the same time as Blitzwing. And boy was that one a disaster. Fun fact, this is the last figure I ever bought as an unmarried person, as 2 months later Cynthia and I were married. Crazy how time flies indeed. So starting off in car mode, let's take a look at the green and yellow guy. Springer turns into this hot roddy looking thing. And I don't mean this clown, I mean like a off-road muscle car? I can't really tell you what this is supposed to be beyond probably the coolest looking custom muscle car I've ever seen in the Transformers. You get these big knobby tires, big fat rear wheels, a sculpted front end with crazy looking headlights. The rear leaves a little bit to be desired, but it isn't the end of the world. Not a fan of the hollowish back end of the stupid looking spoiler, but I'm sure I'll live. I painted the taillights by the way, so they look a little better. In short, this is a radical looking ride that would be a pretty slick real world recreation should it ever see the light of day. For size comparison, a standard 3x3 Rubik's Cube, World of Nintendo Waluigi, Titan's Return Hot Rod, Blur, and Masterpiece 22 Ultra Magnus. All of these look to be in pretty good tune scale for each other, if I do say so for myself. Though MP22, for obvious reasons, is a bit on the tall side. Alrighty then, this guy's a triple changer, so let's get to triple changing. Start by swinging out the rear fenders, and then swinging around the spoiler and the positioning like so. Grab that sword of his that can be stored underneath, but I prefer not to, and set it aside. On the front, pull out this piece and rotate it out and around to cover up the front wheel, and then pull out the entire front section on both sides and swing them further down the vehicle. Take the rest of the side of the car and wrap it around the front fender and peg it in, then fold down the window. Take the windshield and swing it forward until it clips in, and then pull out the landing gear. Finally, take the sword, split it down the middle, and then pull it away from itself, then rotate up the hilt of the sword to lock the blades in place, and then pop it on top of the helicopter. And then here we have, coming in for landing, Mode 2 of Generation Springer. Now this is actually a pretty cool helicopter. You've got those front fenders that become the sides of the copter, complete with your imagination's choice of missile tubes or searchlights. The rear of the car turned itself into a pretty sweet rear end, though no stabilizing rotor unless you want to pretend that the wheels transformed into that. I love how the windshield essentially shrunk to get the look of the helicopter mode, or how the top rotors angle themselves forward like an actual helicopter does. Stuff that a kid wouldn't see, but man do I see it. The only real flaw that I can see in this particular mode is the unavoidable side kibble. It's a mess. An absolute mess. But at this scale, I don't exactly see how they could have gotten around it. Not to mention, this is actually sort of G1 toy accurate, so, you know, whatever, I guess. For size comparison in this mode, Kubi and Bao MP11, MP22, Hot Rod, Blur, Rubik's Cube, and Waluigi. Kinda funny that he scales pretty decently in one mode and then really doesn't in the next. But that's Springer for you. At least he's not broadside in all his perplexment. Anyway, that's it for helicopter mode. Mostly anyway. There's supposed to be a gun attachment point I should cover, in both modes actually, but vehicle-mounted weapons are dumb, so therefore I'm not covering it. Anyway, put the blades back in sword mode and we'll domo arigato Mr. Roboto. Retract the rear landing gear, rotate the head up, and then the nose cone down. Swing the front sections back where they were, take the wraparound sections and fold them together to make an arm. Open up the window, rotate out the hand, and close that back up. As far as the shoulders go, the fenders have the option of sliding up and then pointing out, but I really don't enjoy the look, so I tend not to do this step. Fold the back flap up, point the front of the feet down, and then split the legs. As for the stabilizer fins, or the spoiler, whatever, you have the choice of rotating it down for extra heel support or rotating it up and out of view. And there we have it. Springer in robot mode. And actually, this isn't a bad reputation by any means. Granted, this figure came out in 2013, so it still has a bunch of design liberties taken. But that's okay, because this guy is stinking awesome. The colors just scream Springer. The molding isn't too far off either. This is actually a really cool triple changer that looks loads better than whatever this was supposed to be. Accessory he comes with is this odd double-firing friction joint mechanism gun thing. You push this thing forward and it fires the missiles off in 2 stages. Apparently the cost cuts mean Springer doesn't get any springs, and oh well, I prefer the guns nowadays where cost cutting itself means no spring-loaded nonsense anymore. The other thing he gets is this epic upon epic sword. I mean, check this out. The helicopter blades folded together, the top folded over and making a locking hilt, and dang, is this cool. Means he gets to go sparring with Drift. Definitely not enough sword uses in Transformers. though given the nature that projectile weapons exist, that kind of makes sense. For size comparison, Titans return Blur, Titans return Hot Rod, Generations Wreck-Gar, Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, and Takara Legends Galvatron. As for articulation, his head is light-piped, which, now that I'm covering it, man, it's been a while since I've covered that. They kind of stopped featuring that after a while, and it's sorta nice to see again, but at the same time it makes for not the greatest animation, as the eyes always change color depending on how the lighting is and the angle you're looking at it. So as cool as this is, I personally am glad they stopped doing it. Anyway, the rest of the articulation. Head is on a ball joint for up and down and spin. Arm spin 360 and move out quite a bit. Bicep swivel and a 90-degree bend. And even the wrist swivels. Like, what? Given the way the hand transforms, this kinda surprises me. Waist swivel, universal jointed hips, thigh swivel, 90-degree knee, and technically there's toe articulation, but not too much. Like, man, I'm surprised at all this articulation. This is crazy. Even with all the price cuts of 2013 and 14, this guy feels like a passion project by one of the designers, which is probably why he was so highly sought after for the longest time. Not to mention, because his talk show is just so highly rated too.
Welcome to Springer. Today, this guy Optimus claims that he used to be best friends with Megatron, until he caught him hanging around a new guy's Soundwave. All Optimus wants is an explanation. Megatron thinks that he shouldn't have to answer to anyone, especially if he finds someone cooler to hang out with. Find out what happens next on Springer.
Springer, 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 Springer.
Hi, I'm your host, Springer. And today we're going to get to the bottom of this issue between Optimus, Megatron, and Soundwave. So Optimus, what happened?
Well, Megatron and I used to be good friends. We used to hang out all the time and—
I specifically recall you being the dweeb that just tagged along.
Hey! I'm still talking! Don't disrespect me!
A bit touchy today, are we, Prime?
Have been since you started hanging out with that friend stealer there.
If you were worth hanging out with, you wouldn't have ditched you to go conquer Cybertron with me.
Is that what you two have been doing? Megatron! That was our dream! We were going to change things around here.
I wouldn't rule with you, Prime, even if you were the last person on Cybertron. You're such a dweeb. All your talk of freedom for sentient beings. That's just not how I fly, Prime. So I found someone better to hang out with.
And you didn't even tell me. Didn't even write me a Dear Jazz letter? I mean, come on.
Is that what you're upset about? That I didn't tell you it was over? Don't get your power drain in a knot, Prime.
You know what? That is it.
Hey, back off.
This guy's asking for it.
I said back off.
Prime has a point here. If you're not going to be friends anymore, at least have the bearings to tell the guy. Ah, who asked you? Prime, you were asking for it.
You hear that? Nobody here agrees with that.
And since when have I ever cared what others thought? I mean, have you heard Starscream?
You're hanging out with more people? That tears it.
Hey, get off him. I said off him. Come on, get off him. Come here, get off.
Assault, ravage, eject, operation, retaliation.
Well, that's been our episode. Tune in next week where we'll see the results of Blaster's paternity test.
Anyway, that's the review for Generation Springer. As cool as he was, he's off to a new home. So, Jacob and Gabriel, enjoy your new triple changer. And remember, only you can stop forest fires. This has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer.